success. And that is where if you look at 5 years back when it was started, 6 years back when it was started, we were hardly doing any volumes. Now today, we work with the Government of India, MSME department, we work with RBI to see how we can increase the volume to the TReDS platform. So just taking back from your question, what you're asking about, what are the 3 top performing segments which we have on the platform? We have just studied that, and I would say that the maximum invoice discounting volumes come from infrastructure, automobile, and engineering sectors, which totally together approximately account for 35% of the market share.
Welcome back to MSME Talk podcast for micro, small, medium enterprise businesses and startups. This is MSME Day 2025 special episode on MSME Talk with industry leaders, entrepreneurs and experts to share key sectoral insights, updates, trends, guidance and policy suggestions relevant for MSMEs, startups, entrepreneurs, covering topics like MSME invoice discounting in trade receivable, semiconductor MSMEs in India, EV MSMEs in India, circular economy adoption in textile MSMEs in India. Timestamp for each of these short topics discussions, you will get it in the description. Before we move on to the episode conversations, let me share a bit about MSME Day. So MSME Day is observed globally on June 27 to recognize the vital role of MSMEs in driving economic growth, innovation and employment. June 27 was designated as MSME Day, that is Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day by the United Nations General Assembly in 2017. And the first MSME Day was observed on June 27, 2017, that is almost 9 years back. So now next year we're going to have a decade of MSME Day celebration. Let's get to these short episodes on topics which are relevant today in perspective of MSMEs for interesting insights and updates. For better experience, I would suggest you to switch to 1.25x speed and also don't miss to subscribe at the rate MSME Talk on YouTube, Apple and Spotify. Very warm welcome, Ketan, to MSME Talk podcast for MSME Day special episode. 𝐒𝐏𝐿 is CEO and MD of RXIL TReDS. He will share insights and data from their TReDS platform. RXIL TReDS is a leading digital marketplace in India for invoice discounting, MSME trade, receivable. So Ketan, let's begin with our first question. What are 3 topmost segments or sectors on your platform from the loan or demand or invoice discounting perspective?
Thank you, Tripti, for calling me for this talk, and especially on the auspices of the MSME Day. But let me just, before I take that question, let me just talk about TReDS first. TReDS in the sense, what journey has happened in the last 4-5 years. So the TReDS platforms have picked up very well. Just to talk about the volumes, the 3 TReDS platform, I would say that primarily the larger ones. We have done volumes of 233,000 crores. Unheard of, So that is what, and the growth rate has been 80% over year on year. So that is what I would say the major success. And that is where if you look at 5 years back when it was started, 6 years back when it was started, we were hardly doing any volumes. Now today, we work with the Government of India, MSME department, we work with RBI to see how we can increase the volume to the TReDS platform. So just taking back from your question, what you're asking about, what are the 3 top performing segments which we have on the platform? We have just studied that, and I would say that the maximum invoice discounting volumes come from infrastructure, automobile, and engineering sectors, which totally together approximately account for 35% of the market share over here. In the sense, if I'm doing 100 crores, out of that 100 crores, 35 crores comes from these particular 3 sectors.
Okay. Infrastructure, automobiles. Okay. And which is the third one you mentioned?
Engineering.
Okay. So, Ketan, if we try to see in which 2-3 segments or sector, there's higher rejection. Is there any kind of high rejection scenario being observed while these MSME sellers come onto the TReDS platform? And if yes, what could be the probable reason for that?
So I would say, look, high rejection rates come from sectors which are high risk areas, which remain the high risk areas even for the banks. So these are
Okay.
gems and jewelry sections, which can be non-manufacturing sectors like services or trading entities. So that is the problem. And especially the rejection rates, I would say rejection rates is when you can talk about, it's not about rejection by the buyers, but it is rejection by the banks. Or I would say the banks would be very careful in doing the discounting transactions on these particular sectors. So where I would say problem comes from gems and jewelry traders, or where authentication becomes a problem. Then in case of tangible goods, so these are the cases where the banks might not, or the financiers might not finance in case they're not comfortable, which is validly so that they might not want to do these transactions. Yeah. Otherwise, manufacturing and the other sectors remain the core areas where they are very interested in doing the finance.
Doing the financing, yeah, invoice discounting, yeah. So, next question basically, is there any geographical area, state, or city which has just surprised you based on your data which is coming on your platform in any ways?
We had never done it, but to just to tell you that when we started working on this particular aspect, we noticed that Chennai has emerged as the hub where a good amount of discounting activity is happening. The Chennai, and because Chennai is basically happening because we have a lot of industrial majors over there, and then we also have the
Right.
government of Tamil Nadu also doing the transactions on the TReDS platform. So I would say notably that the government of Tamil Nadu has taken the lead in doing the transactions. So we have seen that Chennai has emerged as a hub for invoice discounting,
Okay.
and then followed
Right.
by Gujarat due to deep market penetration, I would say,
Okay. Okay.
and the
In
MSME
fact,
awareness
what?
about the TReDS platform.
Yes. So, Ketan, your both the names which you are referring are very much being picked up by MSME Talk report which we release. Like last year, we had published the report in which we have highlighted that Gujarat is a state in which the speed of conversion of micro to small enterprises or small to medium enterprises is the fastest in Gujarat. And Tamil Nadu again in the manufacturing side is doing very well in lot of other things also. Like when you are mentioning this, it also gives that lot of OEMs are coming. They are much more aware. They are moving fast, and since large setup of multinational manufacturing setups are there, so awareness related of TReDS is there. And you mentioned the government, absolutely, the Tamil Nadu government is also doing. In fact, what we see in MSME ministry working also, we see a lot of more action being taken by the Tamil Nadu MSME offices.
Hmm.
So interesting. They are all showing it in the output. What you mentioned, wonderful.
So it's a pleasant surprise that our data, which is based on the hard fact data, and your studies, they actually congruent.
Yes, because we are also doing it based on the data, and we collate the data and then we make it out the sense out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so let's see the next question which we want to know from you. Are there any data insights of repeat MSME customers using TReDS platform?
Yeah, so the MSMEs, once they start the transaction, they keep on doing the transactions. In fact, I would say that MSMEs are more attracted. So, the MSMEs, let's say an MSME is supplying to a large corporate, and
Yeah,
he's supplying not only to one particular corporate on the TReDS, but he is supplying to many corporates. Then he might want to do it with other corporates. So that is something which we are trying to see if the corporate is registered, if the MSME is also registered. So and MSME is doing the transactions for one particular corporate. Why can't he do it for the other corporates as well?
absolutely. We wanted to understand this data insight was, is this becoming a habit under the MSMEs to go and get invoice discounting through TReDS platform,
Correct.
or is it like one of the situation where because the client is there and hence they are able to do it? but it is repeating. That means, okay, this is becoming a pattern.
Yeah, look, because the MSMEs are realizing the benefits of coming on the TReDS platform, right? Because ease of access to competitive rates, invoices are getting cleared faster, and digital onboarding. So, that is where it helps them to realize their money faster. And that is the whole
Okay.
progress. That is, I would say, that is the whole prerogative for them to come on the TReDS platform faster and then do the transactions faster, as fast as possible. So, if they're saying that if I'm doing it with one customer, can I do it with other buyer also as well?
Absolutely, yes, you're right. Okay, so other point is, Ketan, we would like to know: has there been a noticeable change in ticket size or invoice value trends over the last years? Is it increasing?
Invoice
Okay,
amounts are increasing because notably so because the value of the transactions are increasing. So we have done
value of the
transactions which are ranging from 100 crores to 14 crores in the first 2020 to 23, and in 2024 we saw that the rate, the maximum invoice value going to 20.8, 20 crores plus, and in 2024-25 actually it's going to 28.5 crores. We just mapped what is the minimum and what is the maximum value of the transaction.
right. So minimum, I think you always mention the platform 100 rupees or something for the testing,
Correct.
right? Maybe there could be the testing. Who will get the 100 rupees done? It will more be a testing thing, which will be
Correct, possible.
someone would be doing it. Yeah. Okay. And then you are saying 28 crore ticket size has got
Hmm,
discounted.
hmm.
Okay. And what is the average size? Did you mention?
Average
Is there
size would
any?
be something like, the 70-80 lakhs is the average size.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But it goes
Got
to
it.
the reduced value of 7-8 lakhs also. So, but
Right.
average, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Ketan, are there any increase in fraud trends? Because nowadays we listen so much of digital risk kind of situations happening. So any cyber crime or misuse pattern being observed in the processes?
Not really, because you look, we have a lot of transaction monitoring, places, checks in the place. So and with the volumes increasing, it is much, much better that we have this transaction monitoring technique
Mm-hmm.
in place
Mm-hmm.
already. So there are
Okay.
certain inbuilt checks which are there, but at the same
Mm.
time, we also see, where we do real-time validations with GST, and we do some sampling checks and all that. So, so that is something which we often do it. But more often that, we would say that, look, we are asking for integration with GSTN or e-invoicing. Once that happens, once the government takes a call over there, then there is something
Okay.
which can enable us to do real-time validations from the system itself, where the
Okay.
invoices
Got
can
it.
come from the invoicing system, and then you have the e-way bill system also.
Right. Right. So everything becomes very smooth and
Very smooth, yeah.
auto pickup will, right. Got it. So, Ketan, is there any recent regulation or a policy change which impacted invoice discounting in India? It could be either way, negatively or positively impact on the whole
See, two
ecosystem.
policy changes. First is the
Mm-hmm.
government in allowing that getting the threshold reduced to 250 crores from 500 crores. Initially, the idea was that, all the corporates above 500 crores turnover have to come on the platform. Now the government via a notification has allowed even the up to 250 crores companies coming and getting registered. So it made it mandatory that all the companies with 250 crores turnover plus 250 plus turnover have to come on the TReDS platform and register. So that is one thing which is there. So we see that that can actually impact the volumes on the TReDS platform. Second is the revision of the MSME classification, which is
Right.
also where the revision of the MSME classification, where the revision has gone from the maximum 250 crores to 500 crores now. So
Yes.
that
Yeah.
itself actually adds more number of suppliers into the system,
Right.
which are,
Right.
not getting classified, or were not getting classified as MSME, now are getting classified as MSME, or they were on the
Right.
threshold of that. So, so these things are actually, we
Yes.
feel that they can significantly boost the invoice discounting ecosystem.
And this could also be the reason of one of the reason, I would say, for increasing the higher ticket size on TReDS invoice discounting, because bigger corporates, because up to 500 crore turnover clients if are coming and getting that invoice discounted, then their ticket size of invoices would also be little larger on an
Correct.
average.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. So, as a marketplace, Ketan, what are your top two wish list from MSMEs to bring change or upgrade their way of working to better utilize the trade services?
So, if you ask me as an MSME, what would be the first thing? And it always reminds me of that ad which Reserve Bank of India has come out about TReDS, that there is a MSME person who's actually into tailoring shop, who's running a tailoring unit, and she's running short of cash. And then someone, her friend, comes along and she says, "Why are you worried? Why don't you get registered on TReDS? And why don't you ask if your buyer is registered on TReDS?" So that is the basically, changes the perspective of that particular person. And she calls up the buyer and she says, "Are you on TReDS?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm on TReDS." So this is something which I think all the MSMEs have to start behaving, imbibing that culture, that they should ask the corporate to whom they're selling, "Are you on TReDS? Can you come on TReDS? And can you do the transaction on TReDS?" So that means my liquidity care is taken care of. At the same time, we're also wishing that we should explore end-to-end invoice integration. So we are trying to see whether we can give that particular facility to the MSME where his integration can happen with the platform, where the invoices he places in a particular box, and from that box the invoices are getting picked up. So that actually then the MSME can focus more on not on uploading the invoices, but he can focus on his business. He just has to create an invoice and put it on a particular utility, and from there we'll pick it up. His financing will happen, and then he gets the money the next day or the third day, whatever it is. So that's what we are saying, that these are the proactive steps even the MSMEs should look at, that they should have a buyer onboarding advocacy and end-to-end invoice disk integration, which we are working on.
Right. So this particular part, the second suggestion which you are saying is where the government intervention is required and regulator intervention is required.
For the end-to-end invoice integration?
Yeah.
No, not really. Not really. It is
Not
basically
really?
the MSME suppliers are coming. We are building an utility where the integration can happen with the supplier itself.
So then, what is that which MSMEs wish more from TReDS platform? So where your clients who are MSMEs coming, but they say no, ye nahi hai abhi.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that look, MSMEs are getting the best of the world, which is not there, which is not there in any of the countries. So this is the most innovative platform, I would say, which has been produced or which has been working as a live example for financial inclusion. So MSMEs get very competitive discounting rates which is predicated on the the credit risk of the buyer. You cannot find that anywhere in the world. I would say that they've got the best rates. So they keep on asking for better rates every time. So that is the wish list. If I were the MSME, I always keep on asking for better rates from for that particular buyer. And I would say that I would want higher limits also, because I might be supplying, there might be a credit risk over there or whatever it is. So I will seek higher limits to ensure that my invoices are discounted.
So this is the universal need basically of any borrower. Give me the better rates and give me the more limits.
Give me more limits.
That remains the same. Yeah, that remains the same. Okay. So wonderful. This session was more about industry updates and the data points, what's happening in the industry. Thanks a lot, Ketan, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Tripti. It was nice, wonderful, and it was nice and wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Anmol Bohre is co-founder of Enigma Automobiles, which manufactures electric two-wheelers. Enigma Automobiles is profitable MSME since a decade. He will share insights and data on EV industry from perspective of an MSME company itself. A very warm welcome, Anmol, on MSME Talk podcast. So Anmol, on the occasion of MSME Day, we are taking some insights from the MSME players and also the industry experts. So today, we would like to hear from you. You have been selling EV bikes as a bootstrap startup. What demand trends have you observed between metro versus tier 2-3 cities in your company arena?
So, as you rightly said, we have been in the market since past almost a decade now. So, one of the stark difference that we have observed between a tier 2 and metros is, in metros, customers are more brand conscious. They are more image conscious. Vis-a-vis in tier 2 and 3 cities, customers are more affordability conscious. I think they are more looking for a more value for money product, which can help them save cost. I'll like to throw in some data here. which is again reciprocates with what we have been observing, that approximately our sales are 2 times more in tier 2 and 3 towns than as compared to metros. Even Niti Aayog's report also says that approximately 67% of the vehicles are sold in tier 2 and 3 cities as compared to metros.
Okay, EV, and specifically you are saying two-wheeler bikes in EV two-wheeler bikes, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, you yourself are getting more demand
Correct.
for the products.
Yes.
Okay, vis-a-vis metro.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, Anmol, let's understand another
Yeah.
point. From the place where you stand, what kind of real business opportunities are emerging for MSMEs in this EV segment? It's a hot segment. Everywhere we are talking about EV, 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 EV. Now, what all different kind of opportunities for micro, small, medium enterprises are emerging?
Tripti, you rightly pointed out, Abhi, right now the segment is very hot, as in every second or third company or every second or third entrepreneur you're meeting right now, they want to be in the electric vehicle segment. Opportunities wise, I say there is a vast opportunity. Charging stations, for one, is a very huge opportunity which will scale up in the coming 5 years down the line, as in when we see a scaling, as in when the scaling is happening in of adaptability of the electric three wheelers and four wheelers and two wheelers, charging station will increase. Vis-a-vis BMS battery manufacturers, then charger manufacturers, assembly lines, service centers, everything will increase in the coming 5 years down the line. SIDBI also agrees with this report. SIDBI's report says that by 2028, the MSME sector of EV will provide approximately 1 million jobs to the youth of the country.
So, Anmol, you are seeing fast growth. Uh, are your vendors who, many of them, these vendors could be MSMEs themselves. Are they ready to scale with you? You want to grow, you want to sell more two-wheeler bikes, but is the system and the scale of operation of these vendors ready? And what would you want them to improve?
Vendors mostly, yeah, up to see, unless and until the demand is really increasing to few thousand units a month, almost every MSME vendor can provide. But once the demand crosses a thousand vehicles a month, which we are seeing nowadays, vendor readiness, it's a problem because there is no standardization available for MSMEs. There is no guidance available for MSMEs. Most of them are, stick are struggling with the the working capital issues. But yes, everyone is trying to do better each day. I'm sure that will not be a problem in the future. But yes, right now it is an issue. Vendor readiness is an issue. They are trying to scale, but they're not able to do so.
So, Anmol, going to the next question, you are seeing fast growth in your business month on month now. Are your vendors, who many of them might be MSMEs, ready to scale with you, or there's something you want them to improve on, and what's happening? So, please share your insights.
From my industry perspective specifically, all of our vendors are scalable up to a certain units. Up to it is in few
Okay.
hundreds or a couple of hundreds. As soon as the demand crosses 1,000 units, which we are seeing recently, we have gotten some big orders. This particular thing is causing demand supply side disruptions. So, for example, because almost all of our MSME partners are dependent on raw material providers. They who in turn are dependent on their raw material providers for the entire planning. If the demand shoots, which will shoot in the coming future as well, it's a supply chain issue which we are facing recently, and
Okay.
I think it will be something to cater to in the coming future if we
Mm-hmm.
want the business to go smoothly over the line. I am also sure that issues like this come with almost every industry when it grows.
Mm. Yeah.
But for EV specifically, when we are for companies like us, which are seeing high growth, which are seeing good profitability and good demand, it all comes down to doing the right thing at the right time.
So here, Anmol, can you give name of two, three kind of specific shortages, kind of raw material or any product which you find? Could you just name them?
Sure. See, for example, we have a very specific T-bone which we use. The T-bone comes from a company in Meerut. But for
Okay.
that company to manufacture the T-bone, they need uh, MS for casting. The T-bone is made of because of casting. So for casting to go through, it requires a certain time period, certain cooling period. So that is one issue that we are facing right now. Our vendors are not able to
Vendors
scale.
are not ready to scale up.
Yes. Number two is rear suspension, the coil spring suspension. Number three is even our IoT providers. IoT is
Okay.
basically a plug-in device which
Yes.
captures the location and the other small nitty-gritties of the vehicle, which we use to solve problem before they happen. So these are the few
Got
things which disruptions we face on a regular basis.
got it. Okay. Wonderful. Maybe when related to IoT, you very soon you will hear something from MSME Talk.
Oh, great.
Okay. So, so now let's go to the next point, which we want to understand. Has any government policy or incentive really helped your company or other small EV players like you? And if not, then what is your suggestion?
So, government policies may, I'll be very honest, CGT SME helped us in our working flow requirements. But again,
Okay.
it is not as hunky dory as advertised. Banks are reluctant to give even 1.5 crores or 2.5 crores to the company in need unless and until you pledge something. So, for example, right now the limit that we are enjoying is under CGT
Hmm.
SME, but bank has taken a collateral against that. But yes, I will not shy away from saying that we have benefited from the scheme immensely. We are enjoying good limit. Other than that, I would also like to bring your note to your notice and through your channel to bring to the notice of the policymakers that Enigma Automobiles is a DPIIT registered startup, registered in Startup India, has gotten the income tax exemption as well. But when we applied for the income tax exemption, I do not know, the paper got lost in the process or got lost in the table. We are still paying hefty income taxes on all the income that we are incurring. As you said, we are
Hmm.
profitable startup from day one. So we have paid taxes, income taxes from day one. The thing that I would like to change is that the policy makers should work closely with the industries on the base level so that they are aware of of the benefits that are reaching to them or not. The policymakers
Okay.
have the right intent, the industry wants to
Right.
grow, but it is in between the process that takes long and the value of the chain get lost.
Right. So there's a processes need to be absolutely. I agree, and I hope policymakers and implementers understand. So basically, the gap is in the implementation more rather than the real
Correct.
policy. Policy exists for the
Very true.
implementation and the benefits pass on.
Very
Very
true.
valid, and I understand many of the businesses faces this issue. Anmol, tell me, in
Yeah.
your experience, where are the biggest gaps or challenges for MSMEs when they're trying to enter or grow in the EV space?
Definitely. So, challenges are many. So, for example, I'll point out. So, for any vehicle which is going on road, which we are selling, be it a
Uh-huh.
low speed or a high speed vehicle, you need certification. Certification comes from prima facie few nodal government agencies. One is in Manesar, one is in Pune, one is in Indore, one is in Chennai. And all of those nodal agencies, there is a time period for which the vehicle needs to be approved. And that is same for every company, be it BMW, be it Volvo, or be it Enigma Automobiles. So I do not know how feasible it is or not, but governments should basically see that if there is an MSME or a startup involved, this process or timelines to approve the vehicle should take into consideration their working capital and their status in the food chain of the industries.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
am not. I so for example, if Enigma Automobile is asked to pay a certain fees, that
Right.
fees will come straight from the working capital. Vis-a-vis,
Right.
say for example, a stable company is asked to pay a certain fees that they or a legacy company is asked to pay a certain fees, very easily they can pay. It will not affect anywhere on the working capital. It may take 6 months or 7 months. Then there is a very large gap of technical know-how. People still think that electric vehicles are very easy to make, does not have that much of power, or cannot wade through water and issues like this. We have seen in the past companies like Ola, companies like TVS have proven that that the vehicle is very sturdy, but still there is a uh, gap of technical know-how on how to use how to use the existing technology in the electric vehicles. So we as a company, we emphasis a lot on motor controller matching, which I'm talking in
Okay.
layman terms. The motor which we are
Okay.
using should match at all levels with the controller you are using, should
Okay.
match equally at the level of the batteries and the current which you're drawing from. Basically, optimization of the your powertrain. Another issue is the billing cycle. Most of the established players, which are the buyers of MSME, they want credit. An MSME in general cannot afford to give credit for more than a month because they have the suppliers ready who you have to in turn pay for.
Yeah, financing thing, vendor thing, and the process relative where the approval of your vehicles is done. That particular
Correct.
licensing registration part is you're saying that is something which need to be little more supportive to increase the process wise higher churning and manufacturing of more products from your side and ability to movement.
Correct.
So overall turnover cycle for the manufacturing and the business. Got it.
Correct. Compliance
S-
fatigue should also come down. Yes.
Yes, compliance fatigue, absolutely. Cool. So next, understand, Anmol, looking ahead, we know this. This is a very interesting and growing segment. How do you see MSME participation shaping up in the EV ecosystem over the next 2 to 3 years? Are you seeing in your ecosystem, when you are meeting your other fellow businesses,
Mm-hmm.
participants, interest of them to enter and start something new, add one more business? What is you are seeing from your ecosystem?
Yes, yes. We will see definitely more MSME coming into EVs.
Mm-hmm.
For example, matlab, what I foresee by
Mm-hmm.
2028, 2029, approximately 30% of all the EVs sold should be from manufactured from MSMEs. A
MSMEs,
50%,
okay.
yes, with a 50%
Oh,
components coming from again MSMEs. So there's a chain involved.
okay.
Battery localization will again go, high. MSMEs will drive, MSMEs are driving and will drive battery localization in the coming years. I think approximately 80% of the batteries sold by again 2028, 2029 will come from MSMEs.
Okay.
And so we need to understand that apart from the legacy auto EV makers, there are a lot of MSMEs involved selling low speed vehicles which are not on the Vahan data because they are not getting registered. But
Okay.
EV as a segment has always been led by MSMEs, and or in other words, MSMEs were the flag bearers of EV adoption in the country, and this will continue to do so because we are really able to understand, learn, and then change our approach as per to
Hmm.
the demand of the market. Because we are smaller, that's why we are agile. That
Yeah,
is why we are able to
exactly.
punish our customer more.
Pivoting is faster uh,
Yes.
because of a agility scale. Agility is coming in. So you what you are saying and raising this point that while large players are shaping the ecosystem of EV
Yes.
because lot of investment coming, and not only Indian large player, international large players are eyeing Indian market, but MSME participants are equally coming ahead and looking forward to participate and take their role in the ecosystem of EV.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, you see, you are one of the outlier, I would say, because you took it the challenge of assembling, manufacturing EV two wheelers a little ahead of others, and may not be known and popular, but your existing itself
Yes.
is a very, very, very strong one, and that is one of the reason we picked it up you to, at least talk about you and share your thoughts on MSME Talk podcast.
Okay.
So
Correct.
thank you so much, Anmol, for
Thank you.
bringing little experiences and your own thoughts, okay, what is happening in your EV two-wheeler bike system, and what could be the possibility, what government can look forward for, one or two suggestions which you have given if something can be implemented in coming ahead time. And we will also pass on your suggestion to the ministry.
Thank you. Thank you, Tripti.
Joining us today is Sanjeev Kumar, co-founder, CEO of Logic Fruit Technologies, one of India's top engineering research-focused MSME working on semiconductor and aerospace engineering. A very warm welcome, Sanjeev, on MSME Talk, special episode on the occasion of MSME Day.
Thank you, Tripti. I'm really excited to become part of this podcast. Thank you.
So, Sanjeev, we are going to understand the industry insights of semiconductor MSMEs who are serving defense, communication, aerospace kind of part, your own perspective, your experiences, and how you're looking forward for. So, we'll begin with a first question to you is, over the past year, right? What are the top 2 to 3 trends you have observed in India's semiconductor space?
So in last 2 3 years or last 1 year, the 2 3 trend is that the investor is looking to invest in India. I see this clearly. I see there's a lot of push from government basically to create an ecosystem, semiconductor ecosystem. That's the second trend. The third thing, I see some of the people leaving good, stable jobs come in companies like Intel. But I would say yes, there are clear trend that the world need India to grow in semiconductor side. Right? We have now money available. Government is super supportive, and finally, the talent is also coming up.
Okay. So now let's understand similarly linked to this, how has the role of Indian SMEs evolved in this domain over a period of maybe, obviously you can throw some light not only in the last 1 year, but maybe prior to that. And are global players increasingly open to working with India based IP designs or validation or semiconductor MSMEs?
I would say India has been contributing into world semiconductor supply chain, right, by providing very talented engineers. Because this domain is, I mean, the work is difficult. Maybe I don't know if making a nuclear bomb or car will be much more difficult, but I think making a semiconductor chip is very, very, very difficult. So, of course, role of SMEs, I mean, will be absolutely important or critical in this domain because I don't think that big company is going to invest that much, right? So the agility, the speed, and the investment that a small company require to provide the same thing compared to big companies is in an order of fraction less. So SMEs really have to come up, but I see there's so many SMEs still working on the services domain.
Okay, so Sanjeev, this leads to my next question to you is, since we see there is a huge opportunity, but Indian SMEs are still not at a place where to encash that opportunity to go up the curve, right?
Yes.
So what are the biggest challenges these high-tech MSMEs in India face when scaling up and going up the curve? Funding or skill gaps doesn't
I think
have
one of the major challenge basically in Indian SME market is that first of all, of course, there's a lot of people who commit and do not deliver. So our image is very bad. I think I have hardly found a person who said, no, this I will not be able to do. I think everyone said, yeah, you will be able to do. Just give us money, give us order, we'll do that. But they don't deliver. It has been so many occasions. So I think trust is a major challenge basically in our Indian. The second challenge is also after trust is the fear. People or the companies does not want competition. They're always killing competition. I see that. Now funding, of course, funding. I mean, our Indian semiconductor VCs, I don't think that they are still ready to accept investment in semiconductor. Although I've seen the people starting, I mean, we have got funding, so I'll say it's not that there are again people who has vision and they are ready to take risk, but I think still it is very low. Skill gap. I mean, of course, even if you hire engineers from IITs and IITs, right, you still have to invest like 6 months to a year before they can be productive, and we do that, and there's a lot of companies do that. So again, hiring and retaining a talent is a major challenge, because
Okay.
that's also because there is not enough engineer, there's not enough good engineer, I would say.
Okay, so to maintain the quality of delivery to the products, you need
Yeah,
high quality talent.
absolutely. We need engineer, passionate engineer.
Retaining, yeah, right, and to get and retain a high quality engineers and the talent, competition with the large corporation globally is a big
Yeah,
challenge. So, okay, got it.
yeah.
So, Sanjeev, let's move to the other inputs which we need from you is with the government's push around semiconductor emissions, specifically so much being talked about, and Indian government is also doing it, and they also came with the PLI schemes. So, what kind of tangible impact have you seen so far for design-led semiconductor MSME space? We understand it's there for the large companies; they
Right.
are doing it, they are
It
taking. But
is.
are you seeing anything in MSME
No, I
space?
think whatever I have seen till now, it is only for the large player. It is focusing the manufacturing side, right? And not the design side. Although there have been
Okay.
things, but it's very difficult. I mean, to get there, really to convince, because people who are kind of accepting these proposals, they do not understand actually what the people are writing. India has to become self-sufficient. They don't. I'm not asking to do only no manufacturing or making an SoC. I'm talking about creating our own EDA, developing our own IPs, developing our own tool chain, and then developing our own chip. Right. So the complete ecosystem has to come, and we have to think at that level if we want to successful. Otherwise, it will be very difficult.
Okay. So now these large players who are coming up in the PLI schemes and
Mm,
semiconductor schemes,
mm,
okay.
mm,
I'm talking about Indian space.
mm,
While there are small players, MSMEs, or small startups for that
mm,
matter,
mm,
who could be their vendors or design the way you're explaining it, they are
mm,
not understanding it, that
mm,
before going to the step 5 you need to
mm.
go through the step 1 and 2, and first
Yes.
1 and 2 you might need to reach out to the small, even if it's small player who are working in it, okay,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's where the growth of all the players will happen. So,
Yes.
right, so
Yes.
are
Exactly.
okay, now we have already understood that there is a lack of proper talent in the small space in India.
Yes.
So are we seeing international small medium enterprises or startups coming up and cashing the designing and other support services to these large companies of semiconductor in India?
In India, no. I think not. I mean, the small company, let's say MSMEs, kind of companies of US or even Europe. I don't think that they really look India as a market. At least not till now. I've not seen that.
Okay, got
Right.
it. So
I think
there's a right time if already the
yes.
players in your industry providing it
Yeah.
to make efforts to align and see how you can do it. Okay, got it. So Sanjeev, what changes would you like to see now from a policy or industry ecosystem perspective? I know you have shared couple of points which are there, but let's understand even say government policy or maybe one or two industry ecosystem perspective to make India a more competitive base for deep tech product or semiconductor companies or the design validation companies like yours who are working in defense areas, like you guys provide a lot of services to defense areas and aerospaces.
Yeah.
Any policy in your
Yes. I
mind
think
or
yes,
industry?
absolutely. And I know a lot of people is not going to like it when I'm going to say that. I think government is doing a lot. Things has been improving year on year. There is absolutely no doubt that our growth really started in around 2010. Last 10 years has really grown very fast, right? So many companies coming in. There's so many different business models. People are getting money. And I saw that, I read it somewhere, right? I think the medical students are asking government that as all the doctors has to work in villages for some time. I would say all the graduates from IITs or NITs have to work in India for 4 years, 3 years, right? Whatever they are learning and whatever the government is investing in them, they have to return back to India before going to US, right? For easy jobs. And trust me, the life is not easy there also, right? So I think we need to really, I think the talent is one of the major challenge with India, that we are not able to
Okay.
retain and attract talent. I think that has to change. And
Okay.
government
So
really need to look into that.
right. Okay. So you're saying there need to be some policy from the government where talent retention becomes an
Yeah.
important part
I
for
think,
the
and other
industry.
things, what I would say, they should work, they should come with some policies to retain talent in India, right? I think as doctor need to serve in, I think in remote villages for, I think 1 year, 2 years. I think engineers coming out of all the good colleges, they need to serve India engineering ecosystem for at least 3 to 5 years. And yeah, I think that's, I would say from the policy side, from the government, from the industry ecosystem, I think we don't need to compete. I think that's what I would say. I've already said this to many industry experts, that we don't need to compete. There's so much to achieve, right? There is no point of winning orders on a very low cost, very low margin, right? Make money out of it. Give it to your employee. That's how you will retain and create more talent, right? You have to pay them. I mean, I all if a person is getting, let's say, X lakh rupees at a defense company in my company and 2x at AMD, I mean, they should go to AMD. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. I will stay to my. But then, let's say if I am giving them 1.75, and then they should also recon. So I think it's
Yeah.
both way side. I would say we have to pay good to our engineers. Then only they will retain here. Then only they will be able to deliver. So I think win-win for everybody.
Okay. So what I understand is two perspective coming from your suggestion. One is the policy related, where government can think through of something how the high caliber engineers who are trained, who study in India
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
retained, and they can support the
yeah.
upcoming businesses, even the
Yes,
MSMEs and startups who are coming. How can
yeah,
they serve for some time mandatory? Okay,
yes,
a very interesting suggestion.
yeah,
I hope someone from the government listen to it. And the second suggestion which you are saying is, in the industry players, please look forward for collaboration than the
yes,
competition, in the
yeah,
simple terms.
yep,
Collaborate and grow together, support, make a cohesive ecosystem, rather than fighting for each other. And that also is impacting retaining the talent, because
yes,
that's where you are hiring the talent of other companies at a higher price. And so let's make the complete collaborative ecosystem is
yes,
something suggestion coming.
yes.
So good, wonderful, Sanjeev. Thank you so much for throwing a light of your own experience being in the industry as an MSME player, and giving your services to the global players sitting in India.
Yeah.
And now you are seeing India opening up. So we hope you are able to get more clients from India. And while in your pitch you keep mentioning Europe and US as your clients, and maybe very soon you should start saying India is my biggest client.
Yes, I think absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. That's what we are working on. I think next 5 to 10 years, I think I should be able to say that. I will be able to say
Wonderful.
that.
Okay, I would hope that should come within less than 5 years and not to wait for 15 years. So wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. See you again.
Thank you, Tripti. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Siddharth Lulla is partner at Intellecap with focus on circular economy and climate solutions. He will share insights, data, and trends in textile, sustainability, and circular economy in references of MSMEs. A very warm welcome, Siddharth, on MSME Talk podcast, special episode for MSME Day.
Thanks, Trupti. Pleasure to reconnect with you and looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, Siddharth. Siddharth, to begin with, we would like to understand what are the key sustainability and circular economy trends currently shaping India's textile sector, specifically, related to MSMEs.
Got it. No, great. Thanks for that question, Trupti. And in fact, the last 2 or 3 years, I've actually had a front seat view, especially when it comes to micro, small, and medium enterprises, in terms of what is the uh, changes, what are the sustainable initiatives at the intersection of climate action, global supply chain, and circular economy innovation. And
Okay.
based on some of my observations, I've seen the following key trends which are really shaping the space. So this includes increasing supply chain decarbonization pressures. We're seeing an increased pressure from global buyers, particularly in the EU, which have started mapping and disclosing Scope 3 emissions, for their customers. So this automatically has trickled down to MSME suppliers in India as well, who face growing expectations to demonstrate their climate credentials through tools like a Higgs index, GHG protocol, or LCA disclosures.
Okay.
Secondly, also when it comes to water and energy efficiency measures, we're seeing that currently with nearly 30% of the entire production costs, linked to processing, whether it's water, whether it's steam, whether it's electricity, there's become a very increased focus on innovative solutions such as, let's say, energy efficient motors, water use systems, heat recovery technologies. In India, there is a lot of work being done on similar lines, and in fact, even in the work that we do, we essentially are working very closely with SMEs and some of the larger manufacturers as well to show them different solutions, across the supply chain and see how the entire carbon emission footprint can be reduced across the supply chain. Third, and very interestingly, Tripti, we're also seeing the emergence of recyclers for both pre and post consumer waste systems. So this is very important because India is one of the largest manufacturers of textile. We are one of the largest consumers of textile, and hence we are also one of the largest producers of textile waste, both at the pre-consumer and a post-consumer level. And today, we are seeing innovative solutions, whether it comes to MSMEs in Tamil Nadu, specifically in the Tirupur and Karur clusters, or in Gujarat, in Surat and Ahmedabad, where we are seeing how different SMEs are exploring, and this can also be at a cluster level, fiber to fiber recycling solutions, using cotton and polyester blends. We're also seeing that currently there's only a small percentage of textile waste which is being recycled. So there are also systems being created to collect and collect, sort, and ensure that the waste is repurposed correctly and then goes back into the manufacturing supply chains. And fourth, I would also like to say that we've heard a lot about EPR and circularity linked regulations. So India's
Okay.
extended producer responsibility was nascent, a bit earlier, but over the last 2 3 years, in fact,
Okay.
the 2023 draft EPR framework for textiles is also likely to be pushed to support MSMEs in this direction, and trying to see how circular business models can be adopted, across the sector. So these are some of the insights I'd like to share when it comes to what are some of the key
Okay.
sustainability and circular economy trends shaping the textile sector. Tripti.
Okay, that is interesting, Siddharth. So, what you are saying is actually bringing an output, and an idea that yes, MSMEs are picking up and warming up for these specific things. It's another thing that it is more coming because of the push of their buyers, specifically Indian manufacturers and MSMEs are supplying to the global chain. So, and there is a push, I mean, because global buyers are pushing or certain, parameters to be monitored in respect of circular economy, whether it is related to weather or the recycling or the water related, electricity related, heat related, which is, at least if it's not by the willing but it is by the push, and the direction is started. Good to hear that.
Absolutely.
So Siddharth, how does MSME's textile ecosystem compare to global peers when it comes to sustainable practices? Because India is one of the largest players, but there are other competitors who are doing pretty well and at a large scale.
Tripti, very apt question. And these are such wonderful questions that you've curated. So thank you so much for that. I'd like to say that over the last few years, I've really seen a very strong trend wherein MSMEs are beginning to catch up with, as compared to global players. And these are across different areas, so when it comes to compliance readiness, innovation uptake, adoption of different traceability systems, the way manpower is dealt with. So I'm seeing these considerable changes happening. When it comes to sustainability reporting, we're seeing that today, 5 to 10% of the MSMEs have already started capturing data on GHG emissions and Higgs data. So this sort of gives a very clear view